You have to hold it. I told them all.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you would stand and follow along with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Fenton, Denham,
Here.
Cooper,
Here.
Milton,
Here.
Howden,
Here.
Rodriguez, LeBlanc.
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. On the agenda, we're going to start off with a presentation from Rachel on our CVB marketing plan.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing?
Does anybody have any questions?
I love that. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to be going over the marketing plan and the budget. That was the purpose of this study session. However, I got a request to present some additional items, so I'm going to go over those with you guys today as well. Just to reiterate, after we talked at the last Board of Aldermen meeting, I just wanted to say once again, thank you to Kathy and to Lisa and to Alex. We're still continuing to meet, Jonas and I, every 2 weeks, and that's been really, really, really beneficial, and I think we've come a long way. We're understanding, or getting a better understanding of what is expected from our contract, and so we'll get started. First, we're going to look at a destination overview. So looking first at our top feeder markets for the marketing plan. In addition to our national digital and social media campaigns that run consistently throughout the year, Branson's top feeder markets are all determined by research. I know that most of you have seen the Branson Visitor Research Dashboard that we use. The DMA is updated in that monthly and is in that and is reflective of this information. So all feeder markets will have regional, digital, and social media campaigns. And then the feeder markets marked with the little television icon will have traditional TV campaigns as well. So you see the 0 to 100 miles is our Springfield and Joplin markets, which have television in them. The 101 to 300 is our Kansas City market, St. Louis, Little Rock, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, Springdale, Tulsa, Columbia, Jeff City, Jonesboro, Topeka, St. Joseph, and Sherman, Oklahoma. And then our 301 to 650 mile consists of Oklahoma City, which has television, Dallas, Wichita, Paducah, Des Moines, Memphis, Omaha, Chicago, Shreveport, Monroe, and Minneapolis. So while we do have a presence in all of these markets, we're also have a strong social media presence nationally as well. So our overall target focus is women ages 35 to 54. It's families and first-time visitors to Branson, while also appealing to our core repeat visitors. We mentioned that we're going to make it a priority to go after those first-time visitors. We've seen in the second quarter report that we're starting to make a difference. That has been a focus in 23 and will continue to be a focus in 24. Then in our spring and fall empty nester target focus, that's women ages 45 plus. It's couples, empty nester couples and singles traveling without children during those target months. And then when you look at the strategies, Our overarching strategies are that we're going to build Branson brand momentum. We're currently working on a brand study with a company called Find Difference, and Austin McGee is the leader of that study. He's the former CEO of Sterling. Sterling was a company that came here 2 different times, first in 2004, I think it was, and then back in 2011, this community hired that agency to do a study, and then now he has gone on and has more of a boutique agency, but it is the same guy that did the study back in those years. So he's been in market for several days over the course of the last month, and he'll be back in a few weeks, and he's going to be getting that study done for us so we can apply that to our marketing strategies for the strategic plan. So under that brand momentum, we'll present Branson as today's ideal experience for family values, fun, faith, and flag through an integrated marketing approach, leveraging advertising, digital marketing, activations, and public relations. Number 2, we'll focus on the core product. That's live music shows, family fun, and outdoor adventure as the core drivers of revenue and extended stays, while also showcasing Branson's key strengths as a destination. And we'll expand the traveler base. We'll harvest first-time visitors to Branson to put Branson on a positive trajectory for the future with a strategic focus on young families, expanded geography, and a customized approach to reach and attract travelers in all 4 seasons. And then for number 4, we'll explore next. So what does that mean? We'll explore new opportunities like, for example, our relationship with the Kansas City Chiefs. That would be something considered next. So those are the overarching strategies. And when you look at marketing.
Rachel,
Yeah.
would you go back to that previous slide?
Yep.
And just for clarity, under number 2, would you please add in attractions? So focus on live music shows, attractions, family fun, just so that's clear.
Okay, I will do that. And then our marketing strategies, we're going to develop integrated marketing campaigns delivered through precision targeting to motivate first-time visitors and also to encourage our repeat visitation. We'll maintain and build out our owned assets to increase brand reach, relevancy, and engagement through multiple consumer touchpoints. And finally, execute and utilize first and third-party consumer and industry research to adjust and or further develop the demographic and psychographic composite of our desired target and geographies, which will create messages around those visitation-driving assets and inform timing of activations and paid advertising. So when we look at public relations strategies specifically, we're going to generate positive coverage of the Branson area in regional and national media outlets. So we work with these 4 agencies to leverage our media relationships through collaboration with these partners to focus on target outlets with messaging that's most relevant and appropriate to their focus. So for example, Heidi McGuckin with McGuckin PR, she is based in Austin, Texas. She's worked with Austin City Limits. She's worked with Nashville, and she represents us in the live music shows and entertainment industry. We have had hundreds and hundreds of TV and radio interviews with local partners in our music shows based on some of these contacts that Heidi McGuckin has. So we've really enjoyed that relationship. Mindy Bianca, you see all those USA Todays and all of the listicles that we get. Mindy is known very well for all of the attractions-focused media and PR that she does. Larry Whiteley is in charge of our outdoor adventure. He previously worked in his former life for Johnny Moore's for many, many, many years, and it has a strong focus on the outdoors. And then Dan Shepard is our person that focuses on golf PR. And then the second strategy would be to generate media relationships to support and amplify our paid media efforts to create a fully integrated marketing campaign.
Hey, Rachel.
Yep.
Hey, those McGuckin spots, it's been really great, not just having those take place, but also having the ability Like when I was helping Dino organize some of his things, it was just so great to have that, to be able to call and to reach out to those Springfield television stations, because that reach is just tremendous. And so I really appreciate that we've been able to have that.
Thanks. We've gone out as far as Dallas and Chicago, and we've done a lot of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, Little Rock. So I really appreciate the partners in our community, those show professionals that have gone out and taken, their own time to go travel on the road. I mean, we reimburse them for all that, and we take part in that, but just for them to take their time to do that, to promote the area, is super huge. So thank you for saying that. Now, looking at the sales strategies, we'll increase the economic impact driven by meetings, leisure groups, and sports, and events and tournaments sales to the city of Branson. We'll expand our brand awareness and perception among our group planners, and we'll position Explore Branson as an industry leader in digital technologies for sales strategies. Okay, so looking at the budget, just before I get started on this, I want to tell you that I have some support documents for this particular slide, okay? So we have pretty flat from last year, dues and sponsorships for $400,000. So things that we might spend this money on, for example, is when we have powerboat races, or Mr. Crappie comes in town and does a big event, things that specifically are held in the city of Branson, at the landing, the recplex, those types of things. And then the media total is $3,405,000, with $1.8 million of that being digital and social, $75,000 historic Branson, $50,000 for veterans, $305,000 for creative. Traditional and linear TV is that traditional television buy that we do. That's at $1.1 million. And then meetings and conventions, digital and social, to specifically target people to come to our convention center, that's at $75,000. And then public relations is at $75,000, and trade shows and conferences is at $120,000. So if you look at, you guys have probably seen the sheet I've brought to you before, that is a long, big flow chart with lots of colors about when we're doing all the things, right? So, and I give you one of those for digital and TV, and we will provide you with that once we go out. We know the total amount to budget, and we go out and do those, place those media buys collectively. But I wanted to kind of simplify this and show you some of those strategies. And obviously with the logos, you can see what vendor partners those are. Some of them are display, some of them are native, some of them are connected TV, rich media, search ads, all kinds of, and this is just a very small sampling. This is just some things I could fit on one slide, but we'll have more detail on that to give you once we make the buy. But I will say too that something really crucial that I want to point out is that in our digital and social buy, when you look at digital and social and you look at linear TV, you look at traditional television, keep in mind that any TV spot that you see on a device, your computer, your iPad, anything that's streaming, we consider that TV to be digital. So that 1.8 million, a huge chunk of that is still TV. It's just watching TV, viewing it in a streaming way rather than traditional television. So we really are doing more TV than that line item reflects. And then I put this together to kind of give you a better idea of our timeline. January to December, we have an always on campaign, and that is 365 days a year. That total for that campaign is $950,000. That can be things like, we have a constant presence as a destination on TripAdvisor. So we have banners on TripAdvisor, and that's every month. That's something that we might change the content based on the season, but we have that all year. But then when we look at actual campaigns, our spring campaign, which is going to be new creative this year, and I'm going to show you a spot from that here in a minute, starts January 15th and goes through April 15th, and that's $680,000. The summer campaign goes from April 15th to July 15th, and that's $612,500. The fall campaigns start on July 15th and go through October 15th at $605,000. And then you can see there's an overlap with our fall campaign and our Christmas, where our Christmas starts September 1st, goes through December 31st at $632,500. That totals $3,480,000. And if you go back here, you'll see that that's the total between media and public relations, that $3,480,000, the $75,000 plus the $3,405,000. Does that make sense? And then for the marketing plan and budget, do you guys have questions? This might be a good place to stop and ask questions before we look at the creative, or I can just move forward. We can do it at the end, however you want to do it.
Rachel, one thing that I was looking for is, and maybe you've already addressed it, that sheet that shows the color codes of what's being spent and where. So what I'm hearing you say is you're waiting to see what dollar amounts we're going to have before you can put that together.
Yes, I have to have some budget dollars approved in order to go and do a buy. So when we collectively do a buy, they're going to want to know how much, like our digital buy, they're going to want to know how many total dollars we have. And we'll give them those numbers from you guys, and we'll give them the numbers from the TCD, so we can maximize the value of our buy, because it'd be bigger buying power. We have that first meeting with them on Thursday, this one on Tuesday of this week. So once we have that collective number, I'll go to them, they'll put out the media plan and develop that flow chart, and then I will send that to you guys when I have it.
Okay, and I don't know if this is reversed or not, could we see what that proposed timeline and markets that would be in before we go and actually get the buys? For example, and I don't know what's fair, is Joe online? No, it's okay. We'll get the number from Joe, but we're probably in the ballpark of 4 million, at least for a starting point. So,
and that's the number that Rachel's basing this whole overview on, is
Yeah.
the 4 million.
So Rachel, if we could see what that plan would look like if the number was 400,000.
4 million?
4 million, decimal point.
That's okay. There we go. Can we go, let me go back on one of those slides, and I'll address something here. So I have a little bit of that here. So this is kind of timing, right? This particular slide. So I kind of tried to give just a little bit of what that will look like. And these are some of these particular executions basically are going to be in that. So we will have that full flow chart like you've always seen. I was just trying to simplify it for this purpose because I didn't have the actual buy. But we will take, if we can get approved, like if we can get a heads up on, sorry, I'm having trouble here. If we can get a heads up on this slide, for example, and say, okay, we feel pretty good about the divide between these categories. Like, I think 1.8 for digital makes sense, and I think that 1.1 for TV makes sense. If we could just kind of move forward with those two numbers, then we can get the same frame from the TCD. We can go ahead and have them build out that media plan, and I'll get that over to you as soon as they have it done.
Well, I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I'm really looking just to have more of the information to be able to say, yes, that makes sense. Because this is clearly your wheelhouse. You spend a lot of time in this, of which we don't. So just looking at 1.8 for digital and 1.1 for traditional linear, I don't know if that tells me anything, Clay.
Are you saying like more broke down? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But are you okay for me to base off the media buy off those numbers?
I don't have enough information to,
So I'm going to take the blame for this one, because when Rachel and Jonas and we all met getting ready for this meeting for you all, I thought that that big, long flow chart that's like the size of a giant atlas map or something was way too complex and confusing. So I asked her to kind of break this out into the chunks, and that the people that we're placing the buys with, I don't think you're expecting any dramatic changes from from last year. So it was just a simple way to go, what do you think about the ratio and how the dollars are being split? And then the particulars, she can't really give us as final information yet because she's still got the TCED process to go through. So this is pretty much broken out the way it was last year, right, Rachel, as far as percentages? So I just thought it would be easier for you all to look at it from the 30,000-foot level. And then, like you said, the marketing team comes up with where the buy should be, what station, what particular. I thought that was just a ton of information that maybe you guys didn't want. So if you did, that's on me.
Okay, well, to clarify, in my opinion, my only interest is at the 30,000 foot. What I'm wanting to avoid is what we've experienced over the last couple of years, and where this board asked for, there's many examples, but so I have no interest, I don't think anybody on this board has an interest of who, what, where, and when. I think the interest is in the messaging. What is the messaging that we're going to be sending out for the spring campaign, for example? Your chart showed there was 600,000 for January 15th through March 15th. There's been some interest and some discussion on putting a little bit of marketing into the January, February specific months. 400 businesses are currently open. That's a way for us to expand our business, more year-round employment, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not looking at, is it going to be on this TV station during this period of time? I'm more interested in what the messaging will be.
So when we look at, let's see, this Always On campaign, we can do some January and February specific marketing as part of that Always On campaign. That being said, when you look at spring, summer, fall, and Christmas, that is listed that way because that is a time frame or a season that we have a whole campaign developed around. Like, we've spent money producing TV commercials, we've spent money doing digital. We can very easily do something in January and February to promote being here in January and February and not in a season. To answer your question, we can do that as part of the Always On campaign. That's what people don't understand. Like, we never shut off. We might spend less money in January, but we don't shut off. We don't stop marketing.
Okay, so to wrap this up, so you can go to the next segment. Any aldermen have any questions? Clay?
I noticed that it said 50 grand for veterans. Can you give me an example, like where that, how
Yeah.
that would be used?
Yeah, everything from, so Lynn's kind of specifically works on this for our team, and Ashley on the marketing team, but everything from parade support when we have the parade to any kind of video we do for veterans, any promotions we do during veterans. We've been reaching out to some different veterans organizations. We've got some people coming in to do site visits to potentially bring groups here at Veterans. So it's kind of a collection of everything. This is just what we spend on the city side. We also spend money on the TCD side for veterans.
Is any of that, does that include any kind of travel shows, veterans,
Yeah,
military?
so Yvonne
reunions?
has been to, she just got back from one, but she's been to 3 or 4 this year already. So we've added, we realized that when we went through the pandemic and we lost Julie on our team that focused 110% of her time on veterans, we realized that there's been a hole there, and we have been addressing it, and we are.
Was that number the same last year, 50 grand?
I think so.
I don't know, it just kind of caught my eye that we're the
Pretty sure.
most patriotic city in America, and that number just kind of, I was like, well, is that?
Yeah, well, we spend more than
that
that
enough?
because we do like promotions for veterans and digital for veterans. And I mean, we're doing all of the faith, family, flag stuff that's, promoting veterans. So I would say that's just what we specifically do for veterans events. We do more than that, I feel like. Plus the TCD has their budget for veterans.
Yeah, I recall it's been the same 50,000 for veterans and 75 for downtown for many years. And so maybe that's something that you could look at is maybe enhancing a little bit of the veterans. And I don't know if there's been any thought of what to do to enhance our downtown. But I know we've always had those same figures, maybe just something to just relook at.
Okay?
And again, I don't know if it's right or wrong. When I looked at it, it just flew off the paper like, wow, that seems really low for us being like so veteran friendly and, not
Yeah, so
questioning the number.
I think one thing we can do to address that is we can pull some of that money out of the digital budget that we can focus specifically to veterans in digital, and we can add to that. I don't see any issue with that.
Promise you, I'm not interrupting you. I'm just adding context.
Wait a minute, you promised you weren't going to interrupt?
Interrupt her, yeah. But
Well,
this
then,
is-
Rachel, what do you have next? Go ahead.
I think a little context, just going back, and I'm not saying we do things because what we've always done. But I think both of these instances and those numbers in the past was, I know like for the Downtown Betterment Association, it was agreed upon that our organization would help them with their marketing efforts. So among other things, include them in those media buys or activities so their allocation of 75,000 had a further reach. And I think the same number for I think it was the Veterans Coalition, is that?
When they dissolve.
Yeah, and that was to, really at the time, was to make sure that Veterans Village at the Red Roof Mall continued to function in that capacity moving forward. So that's just, that, and then like, for those specific, it's just to those things. There's a lot of other resources and activities when it comes to veterans for sure. So just as a reminder.
Well, and like you said, I mean, I'm sure in all the other marketing, there's going to be veteran stuff. I mean, it ain't like, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, these are just carved out funds in addition to the marketing that's under digital and.
Yeah, and so I guess if you want to see that more in writing, we should adjust the budget accordingly.
As long as that's the understanding.
Yeah, yeah,
Marshall
that-
had some
yeah.
comments.
So Rachel, let's return briefly to the January and February thing. Because if we're saying that the goals of the document or the goals of this presentation are sort of what we're going by, to me, it would actually say that not in the all-in funds, but that we really do specifically focus on that January and February, if our goal really is to get to the 12 months, because really those are the 2 months that don't have anything, So I would actually like to see a little bit more of that, a little bit more of an actual focus on those. That was what Hot Winter Fun had tried to do in the past, because, I know those other ones are very strong for us, but maybe that's the reason why we need to market a little bit in January and February. Boy, being a 12-year economy is something people talk about every election cycle, and it can go a long way to fixing a lot of our issues, like employment, things like that, because people don't want to just work 9-10 months out of the year. So, yeah, I would really like to see an actual concerted effort on that.
Any other comments, questions from the board? Hearing none, let's move on.
Okay, are you ready to see some TV spots? I'm really excited to show you this. I'm really hoping you're going to love it. So first, Chad, will you show the Christmas City of Branson 30-second spot?
Hey, it's me, your vacation. This year, let's ask Santa for an Ozark Mountain Christmas in Branson, where the magic of the season comes to life. We've been very good this year, so Santa knows we deserve a forest of twinkling lights and sing-alongs to all the holiday classics that make Christmas, well, Christmas. We'll even leave him an extra cookie if we can deck the halls with warm family memories. So pack your stockings, because we're spending Christmas in Branson.
Love the message,
Great.
because that's really what we're trying to
Yeah.
say. is my understanding, is this the last year of the It's Your Vacation campaign?
It's the second year. This is the second year of the 3-year.
I loved all the footage and the B-roll and stuff was good.
Great. We were able to show some new attractions and stuff in there too, like Ripley's Lit Up at Christmas last year. Ann McDowell and I co-opted on a campaign to shoot a bunch of stuff of our attractions and our shows and stuff at night, and that was part of that footage. So, you know, the businesses do some really cool stuff at Christmas time, so we want to highlight that as much as we can. And then we're going to see the spring 2024 spot.
Hey, it's me, your vacation. And if you're working, that means I'm not. So this spring, I'm the boss in Branson, where our first order of business is show business. We'll cast a wide net and really rock the boat. Tell the team you'll circle back once you're in the loop. Now this is my kind of commute, and excitement is always the bottom line. So pack your bags. We're going way out of the office to Branson.
We're trying to put as much of that faith, family, and flag as we can get, make sure we're addressing shows, and so hopefully you guys are happy with those 2 spots.
Any comments from the board?
Man, y'all are a tough crowd. It's kind of like my morning show today. Come on, people. I'm singing. Can y'all clap when I'm finished? Come on. Jason, you was there for part of the show. That was dead, man.
Okay, so moving on.
Mayor, can I just say, I just want to give special appreciation to Rachel on these pieces, because we've had lots of good conversations, as she said in her opening remarks. And I just think that so much of some of the kerfuffle that we've experienced in the past, for lack of a better word, I know Clay's looking at me like I'm crazy, I really think can be solved with very clear communication, and you're seeing some of the fruits of that labor here tonight.
Well, I think Mayor was, maybe not everybody's crazy about your vacation thing, but the content was good. I thought the content was good, and it showed everything we have to, I wasn't disappointed with the content at all. I thought the footage was good. Yeah.
So Kathy, that's a good point. Clearly, what we're seeing is a result of the communication, right? Because, these messages is really what we've been wanting. So thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. There we go. Thanks. Okay, so now let's talk about Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not going to rain on Lisa Rao's parade, because I know she has a presentation to give to you tonight at the Board of Aldermen meeting, or just shortly. And hers is going to be more about all of the fun stuff that we're going to get to do as a community to support that partnership. Mine is more about the media and what we're going to be able to do. So we've taken some of the dollars that is in the $250 that you guys gave us to work with collectively, and then we have another $100,000 that we out of our budget that was made available due to a grant we got. And so we're going to put that together, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a very specific campaign for a Chiefs audience. And that is going to start very soon, but this is some of the details of it. So number one, we're going to do programmatic display and targeting of Kansas City Chiefs fans. And that's going to be a message with behavioral targeting for Kansas City Chiefs or NFL fans in Kansas City, DMA, contextual targeting for the same audience, and then custom AI predictive audiences for the Chiefs fans and NFL fans. There are some things I just want to note that we can't do because certain digital applications won't allow you to do something with 2 logos. So as we go through the process, we're learning lots of things because we've never really used 2 logos. And so we're finding out how to best do that and what those best practices are. Second, we'll have out-of-home digital billboards within 10 miles of Kansas City Stadium on Thursday through Sunday of home game weekends. So this will offer turnkey for this type of targeting. Our connected TV buy or anything streaming will be on live NFL football games. So when you're watching the Chiefs game at your house, you're going to see an ad for Branson. And then Carvertise is another way that we're going to, that works very well for teams like this or games, football games, basketball games, baseball games. But we're going to do Uber and Lyft car wraps in Kansas City that we can pass back exposed device IDs for retargeting and for arrivalist measurement. So the good thing about this whole campaign is that I know that there were some things said about this is not going to be something we're probably going to be able to measure. But in fact, this specific campaign with this 200,000, due to our arrivalist data, we can track when someone saw an ad and then when they decided to book, came into market, and what they did while they were here. And so we will have, with this $200,000 at least, we will have information to kind of look at who we're reaching and what types of customers we're bringing into market.
So Rachel,
Questions on Chiefs?
who decides what commercials are run during the Chief games?
Who decides?
Well, specifically, in the last preseason game of the Chiefs, there was a Branson commercial. And in that particular commercial, there were 3 elements that were promoted. One was fishing, one was lakes, and one was zip line. And so for a national or regional audience to say, hey, come to Branson, we have lakes, we have fishing, and we have zip lines, I would just think that with a SWOT analysis, we would know what our strengths are, and we would be able to attract a much more targeted audience because there's obviously lakes and fishing and zip lines in a lot of places.
So specifically to what you're talking about, Kirk Elmquist reached out to Jonas, got all of our TV spots, and sent them to the Chiefs for that particular thing you're talking about. I don't know how they vetted what they showed or presented, or I can find out, but I'm not sure. It wasn't us that decided that.
Okay, but it's clear that to put spots on the Kansas City Chief games, we have spots that are, we have elements that are much more appealing.
Yeah, so we'll make that decision for this particular campaign. We'll make that decision internally. But for that particular one, I just need to find out more information. I'm not blaming anybody for anything. It's just, I just know that was a communication. They asked for spots, because I remember particularly, I was out of town and I asked Jonas, I was like, what is this for? And he sent them, and then, it may have been that's whoever in the Chiefs marketing department, they could have been like, okay, this is my favorite one, and that's why it was used. I don't know, but I can find out.
But we really don't need to know what happened in the past.
Okay.
It's just moving forward, we have some spots that we would really want to have on there versus others.
Understood.
You're just saying maybe get the word to whoever picks that at Arrowhead, hey, we would prefer this as opposed to that.
I think that, I'm not sure that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say?
And I
Jonas
think I'm
from
very
the
clear
audience.
on what you want shown. So.
Jonas in the audience said they need to be told what we want them to show, I think.
Yeah. So obviously, this money, the majority of this money is coming from our partnership that we're working on with this $250,000 with the city. So we probably will lean toward the spots we've created for the city.
I love all that.
Great.
I think that's a great way to target, to really embellish what we have going. With the digital billboards 10 miles out and the Hulu and all that and the wraps, and I think it's good stuff.
and before we move on, and let's not spend much time on this, but is there anything we can do in a very timely manner to capitalize on the Taylor effect?
So you'll have to look it up for me, Jonah. Are you being sarcastic? Are you being sarcastic? No?
Mr.
Not at
Mayor,
all.
Okay, so we had this social media post today with Taylor and Travis on the Ferris wheel and doing all kinds of things in Branson. And I don't have my phone on me, but so this is just Facebook, and it was on Twitter as well. It has had 346 comments, 161 shares, and 1,600 likes. And it's Travis and Taylor on the Ferris wheel, and Travis and Taylor walking downtown, and in the car that they rode away from the stadium in, out at a scenery point.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's fun. The team, the marketing social media team is having a really good time with it.
all right. So I'm the young kid on the board, and that's how I'm perceived. But I am old enough to remember the Virgin Mobile Richard Branson April Fool's Day joke.
I worked at the airport when that happened.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
You know, listen, I've had my history of telling my fellow board members that I'm not the biggest fan of jokes. This partnership with the Chiefs has been derided up and down on Facebook by the Branson Buzzes of the world. Of course, you're not Branson Buzz.
No, and I don't go on Branson Buzz either.
That's probably wise. We had community stakeholders come to this podium and really throw a lot of cold water on the Chiefs thing. To me, I don't think the joke landed very well. I'm just one audience. I think we've had some concerning posts on Explore Branson in the past. If everybody was on board with it, I might be less likely to bring it up. I wasn't even going to bring it up, but since it did get brought up, I just, as a council, I guess, I would hope that we would have a little bit more assurance that kind of those unilateral decisions to throw a joke out there when we've already kind of been derided on Facebook for this move, especially in the fact that we're actually not going to get the players down here, and that's like a criticism of it. Anyway, I'm like where the mayor is. I'm moving forward, not looking in the past, who did what. You know, I'm uncomfortable actually calling people out, to be honest with you. But since it did get brought up, it was something that I made phone calls about this morning because it was just somewhat troubling to me.
Are you talking about the post itself? I didn't even know it was there until you just brought it up. What is so bad about it?
I just think that we've had a long history of like those jokes like that really falling flat from city council and go back to the Richard Branson thing. And we're derided so much for this move on social media and even with stakeholders coming to that microphone and doing that. To me, it didn't land, but that's just one alderman's opinion.
Don't bother me, but.
okay, and I think I'm coming from maybe a higher level. It's no secret Taylor Swift has a couple fans in the country, right?
I just saw her at Arrowhead. I was there the night that he got ditched by her or whatever.
Okay.
But he had the friendship bracelet with his phone number. Yeah, I was there that night.
Well, Taylor's fan base is crazy, right? Some of the announcers I was listening to during the game, I mean, they mentioned Taylor's name, I don't know, a dozen times or more, right? So, and what they were suggesting, and what I read later, was the NFL audience, especially the Chiefs audience, dramatically increased to a whole new demographic that had no interest in the Chiefs at all, or football. So now they're interested not because of the Chiefs, but they're interested because of Taylor. So, which is a crazy, ridiculous, huge market. So from my point of view, you're not supposed to interrupt. So from my point of view, any connections or anything we can do to tag Taylor and anything we can do to ride on that coattail, I think is a huge positive. There are probably millions of Taylor Swift fans that have never heard the word Branson, Missouri. And the more we can connect this buzz, and who knows how long it's going to last, but connect that buzz with, you mean Branson is the vacation destination for the Chiefs, right?
Agree.
I just want to add, and I appreciate Marshall's comments because I also lived through Richard Branson and the impact of potential jobs and understanding that. But I think for context of this scenario, because I got a couple calls early on too, and I saw it, I'm like, that's some pretty bad clip art, but beside the point, I'm not a big fan of social media anyway. But when I fully understood, this was not our organization or the digital team going rogue. This was them, capitalizing on a current trending topic on all social channels and got in on it. And when just like the mayor just said, understanding the reach and breadth of Taylor's, the Swifties, I guess is what they're called, I thought about how many current Swifties do even know Branson exists? And now because of this, so I think that to me, and it was intended to be campy, right? That's why the Photoshop is so bad. That's what's trending on socials today. So when I understood that, I'm like, this was actually, after the first couple of negatives, then I got a ton of positives, and I think it was a good move, so.
Yeah, so I know on topics like this, there'll be different opinions. Marshall and I have a different opinion. But to expand on what you just said, the fact that it was so obvious, photoshopped, right? So it wasn't suggesting they're really here, right? It was over the top that they're not, but just connecting them with Branson, right? In fact, there was one that had Taylor.
Hertz Donuts did one too with the same type of, did you see that one? Yeah.
Anyway, I think I respect the younger crowd, picked up on that, ran with it. I think that's positives, but that's just one opinion. Cody?
Well, it kind of reminded me of how the Silver City does the shark deal. It's clearly humorous. But they've been able to get a huge sort of reaction on social media to that, and so that's kind of how I took it. It was clearly meant to be, fun and not, hey, they were seriously here kind of thing. The other thing, and I heard this today, I don't know if this is true or not, but they said after the game the other day, Kelsey jersey sales went up like 400%, which was already one of their best selling
That
jerseys.
was the opening on the Today Show this morning, is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and so it's truly everywhere, and so to not acknowledge it and have fun with it in some way, I think would have been a miss. So yeah, I think it's neat that you guys did that, and you're getting some interaction with that.
Yeah.
An article to tie this together would be maybe since Branson is the official vacation destination of the Chiefs, if Kelsey and Taylor came to Branson, here's some things they may enjoy doing, right? So you're why are you? What was that? I just say, and I don't know what the answers are.
There will definitely be a song.
I don't know what the answers are. I'm asking from our marketing team, right? What can we do to connect those dots?
Yep.
Right? They may break up in a week, but right now it's a hot national topic.
It is. It's exciting. On that note, I wanted to take you guys just really quick. Chad's going to follow me on explorebranson.com. I just wanted to show you some of the updates to the website.
Rachel, real quick, before you move on from that topic, one of the things as you were talking about the Chiefs marketing and you said the number, what stuck out to me was that doesn't seem like enough money. And I know that's what was allocated, but is that enough to have an impact? With what you're looking to do, is that enough? Could there be more? I'm sure there could always be more, but is that really going to get? And I'm in support of it. I'm just looking at like, hey, we maybe need, we need to take advantage of this. We maybe need to throw more money at it. So that was just something I was thinking about.
More money would be great, because in the contract it wasn't as many media things as what we'd hoped, but that's okay because we can utilize the media that we were given in the contract as well as this, but I mean, obviously, we're gonna, in 2024, use more budget toward it, as including the logo and some more of our assets than what we are. This specifically is a little different. The 200,000 that I'm talking about in this is something we could get going on really quick, and that we could specifically target an NFL audience. Like, you know, make sure that this is very, very precise.
Yeah, and I assume that means for this year, right?
Yeah.
So I guess what I was thinking is for next
for
year,
24.
since we're talking about 24 and budget and marketing, I mean, if there's anything that maybe
Like
we
you
could
guys,
look at.
yeah, like you guys did this time, if we could get more dollars to put toward a campaign, that would be excellent.
Well, I think there was so much excitement for the most part, and I do agree, Marshall, with there was some negative on social, but for the most part, it seemed to be, there was excitement about it. So it feels like it's kind of a missed opportunity if we don't find a way to truly capitalize on that partnership. And to me, that just felt like there needs to be next year, as the season's starting up, maybe we could look at, potentially more money being put to that, not at the expense of anything else.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Part of it is you can't just add all the different things, and not where's it coming from, because it's got to come from somewhere else. And we are really confident that we need this money to market Branson as a whole. But if we could get some more dollars like you guys were able to do with the 250, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I wonder if the TCD would have an appetite of pitching in some more for this purpose.
We can ask. So
Okay.
you can see here, so Chad's gonna have to back me up here. The pop-up fly-in ad that you see at the bottom says, "Get the scoop in Branson." Did that not say, was that not a Chiefs ad before?
Yes, it was.
So these rotate. So so right now we have, to a certain audience, a Chiefs pop-up coming up on the main page. And then if you scroll down, you can see here on the main page, we've got the image. I've been working on my victory dance vacation. And then if you click on Let's Go Chiefs, you will see the new landing page we built. Scroll down, that's your flag. And then keep going. And so we'll be directing all the marketing to this landing page. So we'll also be able to measure that, how many people are actually coming to this landing page when they click on an ad. Keep going. So I just wanted to kind of show you where we're at with the landing page. These things don't happen overnight. We've been working really, really hard to get this all updated as quickly as possible. So that's where we're at right now with the website. Thanks, Chad. Any other questions about the Chiefs? Okay, so live shows and attractions, SEM Co-op. Larry, I think you were wanting me to give you some information on where we're at with those. Yep. And so we put together a few slides. And you can see, to just explain the co-op, there's $600,000 in CVB matching funds on behalf of the city of Branson. So $300,000 in attractions, $300,000 in shows. And then the TCD has $300,000 also in shows. So you can see that with the live show spend, there's $157,000 still not spent for this year, but I can assure you that that will be spent by the end of the year. We're in September, almost October, that'll be gone. So the live show co-op will be sold out completely for TCD and city. The attractions co-op, we've had a little bit of a harder time getting real traction with it. We've got 14 live show partners and we only have 3 attraction partners. So we've got quite a bit remaining in that particular category. What we're finding with the attractions is because several of them are corporately owned and owned outside, of Missouri, or their office may be in Pigeon Forge, it may be in LA, wherever. Those partners aren't necessarily interested in doing that because they've got lots of different, properties, and they just weren't interested in the program, or some just didn't want to make the investment. So that's kind of where we're at with, as far as the attractions go. So I think, we need to talk about for next year, if you guys still want to include these attractions and shows, or if you want to take some of this attractions money and put it in more shows, and we could do some additional like retargeting or some things besides just the SEM keywords, because I think we're at a point of diminishing return with the keywords, but we can do a lot of other things. We could do some display ads, we could do retargeting. There's lots of other things we could do as part of the program. Then, real quick, here is some of the performance, a 10.96% click-through rate for shows. There's been 476,000 clicks, 4.3 million impressions, and 88 cents is the average CPC, and that's just through August, February through August of this year. And then with the attractions, it's 11.51 click-through rate, 25,000 clicks, 217,000 impressions, and an average of 93 cents average CPC. And then this slide kind of gives the information for both of those and how they're performing each month. And it shows the total amount of funds. And then on the final, let's see, this is the, sorry. And then this is the one for attractions with the same information of clicks, impressions, click-through rate, CPC, and then the total cost. And then additional campaign insights. You guys can look at these. I know you have this deck. 43% of females are female searchers, and 55% of female are on. I'm sorry. 43% of female searchers are searching for live shows, and 55% of female searchers are looking for attractions. And then you can kind of see some clicks by age, ranked by volume for attractions and for shows.
So just a minute of humor. So the blue is clearly female. So is the orange male and the yellow is undecided?
You know what? I can't remember and I can't see it.
This is my city attorney.
Undecided. It does say, I think, undecided. Can you guys see on your screens? Do you have it on your screen? No. Can you see? Jack?
Here she comes.
Undetermined.
Undetermined.
Female, male is yellow, female is blue, and red is undetermined. Undetermined. Maybe they just didn't answer that question. Yeah. And that's all I've got for today.
Any comments, questions from the board? Rachel, I have a few topics I'd like to cover, and what I'd like to do is stay at 30,000 feet. We have had not the best communication over the years, and I know your relationship with Kathy is just getting healthier every time you visit. On a big picture, Jonas and I touched on this at one of our meetings. When I look at overall marketing dollars, and I've tried to give a couple different analogies over the past, and I'm going to throw out a couple different ones today, but I've tried the analogy of feeding the geese that are laying the eggs, right? Put the money into the entities that are generating the tax, that are generating the marketing dollars. So for years and years, Branson has always said that our marketing budget is lower than a lot of our competitors, Myrtle Beach, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Wisconsin Dells. So if the goal is to increase our marketing dollars, then from one point of view, maybe the board agrees, but from one point of view, it's every time we send out a message, every dollar we spend on marketing, are we mission focused? Is that message reaching the goal of increasing marketing dollars. And so at a high level, attracting people to Branson to do things that generate our revenues, to me, makes more sense than attracting people to Branson to go to leaf peeping tours or Dogwood Canyon. And so I want to stay on a big picture, but I'm going to ask Chad to put up a couple slides,
Okay.
just to use it as an example. Chad, would you put up the 8 things from September 9th? So my first question, Rachel, is do you know who writes these articles? Is this done in-house or is this done by?
Yeah, so was this a part of the newsletter?
It was an article.
I think it was on the newsletter. Yes, so we work collectively with Miles, our media partner, to write these newsletters. When we work on these, what we get from them, our team gets, is the highest performing article from the year before. So this was the highest performing article in 2022. So they send it back to us and say, do you want to include this as that first article on the newsletter? And then they give us other content ideas. We sometimes change those ideas. We've been changing them a lot lately to include, per your request, more shows, because what they're sending us is research. They're saying, this is what your customer's clicking on. This is what your customer's asking for. So this was on there because it was the highest performer for last year. And you would be surprised, Larry, honestly, I'm not trying to be argumentative at all, but you'd be surprised how many people search for leaf peeping. I mean, it is the thing.
Okay, so
Do you search for leaf peeping?
for that, I don't know about peeping. So
It's
Chad,
a
if you would
term.
bit, I'd like just to go, now the headline, go back to the headline. The headline is the things to do in the fall in Branson, right? So Chad, if you would scroll, I don't know if I need the clicker to do this quicker, but, so the first thing was eat at Billy Gale's. Would you go top, Chad? Okay, there it is. Number 1, have a hearty breakfast. These are the top 8 things to do in Branson during the fall. Eat at Billy Gale's. Number 2 is explore Dogwood Canyon. Number 3 is leaf peeping tour. Number 4 is pursue the Branson Landing. 5 is zip lining. 6 is Silver Dollar City. 7 is dinner at Top of the Rock. And 8 is enjoy live entertainment shows. So the goal is to end up with more visitors, spending more money, generating more marketing dollars. I didn't feel like a list of the top 8 things to do in Branson accomplishes that goal. So Jonas reached out to me, we had a visit, and we went through some of this, and I feel like, and Jonas, I will take my share of miscommunication, but when you were asking about what are the things we're looking for, I know it's not what I thought I said, but it might have been heard. So 2 weeks later, would you put up to September 14th? So 2 weeks later, this comes out.
Yeah, we changed it. Is that what you're going to say? I changed this specifically.
Okay, so what happened was when it came out 2 weeks later, now live shows is number 1, but if you scroll through, there's zip lines, explore Dogwood Canyon, leaf peeping, savory dinner, Silver Dollar City.
It's all the same things. It's just in a different order.
Yeah, so, Chad, if you would just put up that compare screen. So, and here again, Rachel, I'm really wanting to hear from a
Yeah,
high
I've got an
level-
explanation.
From a high level.
Yeah, so are you ready for me to describe, or you
Well,
want to tell?
I was just going to point out for this particular discussion, in 2 weeks, the only thing that changed was we removed top-notch attractions and replaced it with dazzling live shows, and then rearranged the same 8 items.
Yeah, so back to what we talked about before, all of these terms are very SEO optimized and they're searched. So that's why we kept the article as is. Yes, we moved them around, but what I want you to understand is this was written as more of an itinerary. So 8 things to do for Fabulous Day in fall. When we write listicles, when USA Today writes listicles oftentimes, and some of your bigger publications, just because you're number 7 doesn't mean you're number 7. It means you're
Okay.
in the top 10. But
Excuse me, that's really, we're going to run out of time. The point is, if we're spending money to try to bring people to Branson to spend money to increase marketing dollars, I understand where SEO and what the communities out there, what they're searching for. And there's many, but I'll just pick on one, to recommend people go to Dogwood Canyon as one of the things to do during an itinerary. It's an hour drive there, it's an hour drive back, you spend a couple hours there, it's not in the district. There is zero benefit for either the city or the district of increasing our marketing dollars by encouraging people to go on peep leafing tours, Dogwood Canyon, and a dinner at Top of the Rock.
And that was just kind of in order of how you could spend a day. You know, the team that we have doing all of this and writing all this content, this is one of, I don't know how many articles that are on our website. I mean, this is just one fall article. We probably have 50 on there. Like, there's a ton.
Okay.
So I think that it's hard to monitor, every single piece of content that gets added to the site because they think of storytelling. The team thinks of, I've got to storytell, I've got to make someone visually want to come here, I've got to get them to get off the couch and come to Branson. And so they just don't think in layman terms of, if I put this as number 1, then, I know that we're going to sell more tickets and drive more revenue. I mean, they're just not like that.
And thanks for saying that, because I'm wondering if that isn't where one of the disconnects is. The people that are writing the articles and putting this content out, what's in their mindset of, am I trying to go find popular words to bring people to the Branson area, or am I going out there to find people that are interested in what Branson has to offer that also generates marketing dollars? So before we run out of time, I've just got a few more slides, and I'm really trying to keep this at a top level. Jonas, you're not interrupting again, are you?
Can I just comment? Because I just want to say, I hear you, because I get where you're coming from, right? Those lists are not specific to anything inside the city limits of Branson, or the most part, right? I get that. So, but there's another piece of this that we're focusing on first-time visitation, right? So what is that trigger? What is that thought process? What is that idea is going to take somebody from their couch and even get them to search for Branson, right? And so some of these things, based off the research on what these people are looking for, what they're thinking about, is built into that. So I'm not going to argue, because I understand if they go do that exact itinerary, there's limited revenue generation. But I would counter with that, if you get a first-time visitor to come to this market, they have no idea when they're in this market. They don't pay attention to city limit signs. They could be in Kimberling City on the Kimberling City Bridge and send a picture of their family and say they're in Branson. So my point would be, again, based off the revenue, if you break down, let's look at the city's revenue. If you take overnight lodging, shopping, and restaurants, it accounts for just shy of 60% of the tourism tax money for the city of Branson. The other attractions and shows is about 20 apiece, right? So if we can get up to about 35,000 feet.
Chad, would you put up that tourism tax revenue chart, please? Go ahead.
Yeah, if you pull out to 35,000 feet and say, okay, well, that person in Paducah had never thought about coming to Branson. They liked something they saw and something, they can't remember when, they decided to come to Branson. Lo and behold, they spend 4 nights in the city limits of Branson, right? So I would say if the eye candy, for lack of a better term, to get them to try to make that decision gets them here, then what we do find is the majority of the revenue is where people eat, sleep, and shop, not based off the activities. So if we can get them here, they account for roughly 60% of the revenue because they sleep somewhere, they eat somewhere, and they shop somewhere. So, and I hear what you're saying. The lists need to include more specific to inside the city limits of Branson.
Chad, would you scroll to the top of this page, please?
Oh, hey, what's that?
So, Jonas, I hear what you're saying. If we have if we have saturated the market with everybody's, the vast majority already know about our shows. They already know about our attractions. They already know about all the fun things there is to do in Branson. Then I would agree with you, let's expand that, get people to come here to go on peep leafing tours, and then do other things while they're here.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's going to claim we have saturated the market. So when we look at the real numbers, this will tell you, in fact, from a different lens, and here's my new analogy. As we're writing articles, as we're marketing the area, if the mindset was, what can we do to fill more lodging nights in Branson, Missouri? You obviously can't market Best Western. People aren't going to come here to stay at a Best Western.
Yeah.
But at the end result, if the end result was, how do we put more people in our lodging? When you look at the chart, we can't market lodging, but lodging and nightly rentals combined is 49% of our tourism tax.
Mm-hmm.
Shows and attractions is 42% of our tourism tax.
Yep.
90% of every tourism tax dollar we have for marketing, comes from shows, attractions, and lodging, right? So, like I said, if we haven't saturated the market, which we haven't, then it's my contention, we want to send out messages. Top 8 things to do in Branson during the fall. You know what? We have country music shows, we have a magic show, we have attractions, we have Ferris wheels, we have golf carts, we have all the things to do in Branson. Here's all the things we can do. Hey, Mom, did you see that in Branson? They've got such and such. Yep. Versus, oh, if we go down there, you know what? We could go to Dogwood Canyon and go on leaf peeping tours.
Yep.
My point is, if the goal is, and I'm just trying to throw out this as a different lens. Yep. Obviously, you don't market lodging. But if the mindset was, what would we market to fill up more lodging nights in Branson? Because if they're coming to Branson and they're staying in Branson, we will have, I would like to double the marketing dollars we have. I believe we're leaving a lot on the table, a lot of marketing dollars on the table by not telling the people that write the stories and the people that are sending out messages, their mindset. How do we bring more people into lodging properties in Branson?
Yeah, and I agree. And I would like, and I just thought of this and it shouldn't be off the cuff, but I would like to look at the research or ask, because
here's
again,
the research.
I know, but
I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at the research. It's already been done.
That's the revenue, right? Yeah, so, but to just as a point, just a point to consider, how many moms are out there Googling go-kart rides versus something else? I think that's what Rachel's point was. The topics that was put out there was the stuff that was most searched, right? So if we're trying to broaden the reach and reach those people that are out there looking, I'm not trying to argue. I think there's there's validity in everything that everybody's saying, okay? But I think at the end of the day, the fact that we get them here is priority number one, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't ask them to spend any money if they don't get here. And so I think we should be open to all avenues to get them here.
Okay, unfortunately, we need to continue this
Well, yeah,
conversation.
let's-
And I just wanted
put
to
on
put up
books.
one more chart. What do I have left? The pie chart?
Is that the TCED city map with numbers?
No, the
No.
pie chart that Amanda made.
Does this have an undetermined section? Does this have an undetermined section?
Oh,
Or no, undetermined.
so Jonas, and maybe what I just heard you say, it's not the number of people we attract. If we were going to go from 10 million visitors to 15 million, I would be more interested in bringing in more visitors that are interested in what Branson has versus
Sure.
let's attract more people that are interested in leafs and kayaking and fishing and all those things. I don't want 5 more million of those people. I want 3 or 4 more million of the ones that are filling these pies. So real quick, this is just to put a visual on the real numbers. And when I say real numbers, Gary Groman posted these. They were questioned by a few of our holders in the community, and I reached out to DOR. So these numbers come from the Missouri DOR. Scroll down just a little bit. I think we're missing a bottom. There you go. So 87% of all the dollars that go into our marketing campaign come from the city of Branson and Taney County. And 13% of all of our marketing dollars comes from Stone County. So if I was looking at this at 30,000 feet and asked the question, what visitor type do I want to attract and what do I want to attract them to do to increase our marketing dollars? I just think if the root mindset was, it's not the people that may be interested in coming for Dogwood Canyon
Yeah.
or leaf things, right? It's what is generating the marketing dollar.
Yeah. Well, I would love to see that broken down by industry sector too. No, that's by location.
On the other screen, it
No,
had,
the
I'm sorry, go
industries,
back
the
to the-
industry breakouts are not included in TCD tax. You have the city tourism tax by industry breakdown, but the TCD doesn't represent that.
put that back up, please, the chart. That is the TCED marketing dollars that comes from Stone County.
Yeah, by geographic area, not by industry sector.
Okay, how many industry sectors are in Stone County? Come on.
Okay, but
We
so
have
I think
Indian
the one
Point,
thing
Silver
that,
Dollar City.
the one thing that okay, again, we should probably have another meeting just to talk this out. Yeah, I think so back to, if you pull in TCD and you throw in, because the majority of the TCD tax generated in the city limits of Branson is retail, right?
That's
There's
correct.
zero
Branson
from
retail.
attraction. Yeah, I get that. So, but it's zero, I mean, very little from shows, very little from attractions unless they have a gift shop and concession. We all
Yeah.
know all that, right? So that goes, and again, I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just saying that the more people we get here, pretty much all of them have to eat, sleep, and the research shows us that majority of them shop, right? So I think I'm open to doing all things to get more people here. But to say that a certain tactic is causing damage by not, see what I'm saying? So I think that's my opinion.
Okay, and I apologize. We will have to
Yeah.
continue this. I know there's two different points of view, and I'm just trying to find some
No,
common
I think we
ground
should-
at a high level.
We should get together and we throw all this stuff and talk about it and figure it out.
Jonas, Rachel, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'll
Sorry we ran
entertain a
over.
motion to
I'll not
adjourn the
interrupt
study
next time.
session.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.